Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into uh, a really critical health connection. It came up in the material you sent over the link between high blood pressure, hypertension, and stroke risk.
Yeah, it's a big one. Our main source here is Dale Ruddock's book, Lowering Blood Pressure Naturally. And it really lays out how high blood pressure, often without any, obvious signs, seriously bumps up the risk of stroke.
Exactly. So our goal with this deep dive is to pull out the key insights here, really understand why managing blood pressure is just so vital for staying healthy long term.
Hmm.
So let's start there. How does high blood pressure actually, well, cause a stroke?
Okay, so think of your arteries, right, like pipes. If the pressure inside is constantly too high, that force, it weakens the pipe walls over time.
Uh-huh.
If a wall gets weak enough, it can actually burst. In the brain, that's bleeding a hemorrhagic stroke.
Okay, a rupture.
Yeah. And there's another angle too. This high pressure, it damages the smooth inner lining of those arteries, makes it rougher.
Like scratching the inside of the pipe.
Sort of, yeah. And that rough surface makes it easier for plaque to build up atherosclerosis, they call it. This narrows the arteries and, crucially, makes blood clots more likely to form.
Ah, okay.
If one of those clots breaks loose and travels to the brain, it can get stuck and block blood flow. That's an ischemic stroke. And that's actually the most common kind.
So it's hitting from two sides, weakening the vessels and making blockages more likely.
Wow. And the material really emphasized how sneaky hypertension can be.
Definitely. The silent nature is a huge part of the danger. Many people have high blood pressure for years and feel perfectly fine. No symptoms at all.
So they just don't know.
Exactly. Which means the damage inside, to the arteries, to the brain's blood supply, it can just keep progressing quietly until something bad happens.
Right, like a mini stroke, a TSA, or, the full-blown thing. I mean, one source used the phrase ticking time bomb. What's that getting at? Yeah, that phrase, it really captures the idea that untreated high blood pressure is this constant, relentless pressure doing damage over time. Every day it stays high. The risk of something serious, potentially irreversible happening in the brain just creeps up.
It's not a sudden threat, but a growing one.
Precisely. It's continuously stressing the system.
And the potential outcomes, as the book details, they're really severe.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking life-changing consequences. Things like paralysis, losing the ability to speak properly, memory problems, needing long-term care, severe disability, and unfortunately, it can even be fatal. It just really highlights why getting ahead of it, knowing your numbers, is so important.
It's interesting, though, that Ruddock's book, focusing on natural methods like diet, fasting, herbs, it still carries this really strong message about taking charge. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Putting aside the specific methods for a moment, the underlying point is powerful. Managing your blood pressure isn't just about hitting a target number. It's fundamentally about protecting your future self, especially your brain function.
Protecting your brain.
Yeah, and the book sort of frames it as, look, individuals can potentially influence this through lifestyle, which, given the risks we just discussed, feels pretty empowering, right? Knowing you might have some control.
It does. It offers hope that you can take proactive steps. Of course, like you said, it's one person's journey, and it's a good reminder to explore different options and definitely talk to doctors.
Absolutely critical. It's about being informed and working with healthcare professionals, not necessarily instead of them.
Right. So if we were to boil this deep dive down, what's the absolute core takeaway for you regarding this hypertension stroke link?
For me, it's crystal clear. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is a massive and often completely hidden risk factor for stroke, period. How it damages blood vessels in the brain, weakening them, promoting clots, makes it something you just cannot afford to ignore.
Understanding that connection, really getting it, feels like step one for being proactive about your own health, doesn't it?
It really does. Awareness has to come first. You can't act on what you don't know.
Well said. And maybe that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. Given that high blood pressure can be so silent, what might be some good first steps just to understand your own personal risk factors and start thinking about protecting your long-term brain health? Something to consider. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.